podcast. I'm Erica Lester here with my co-host.
Real Jabril Wilson. How's it going?
It's going well. So tonight we're talking about I Dream of Mommy, the Untold Truths of Pregnancy, episode replay 3 with a live version twist. This is 3 of 27 episodes that we've done. So please like, subscribe, share our broadcast, share our podcast, share on all of our social media. So you can let someone else know about the Purpose and Powerful podcast and what we're endeavoring to do here. Also, in a few days, we will have our Restoration, a Journey of Transformation event for all the women in our local area and community and surrounding community areas as well. We're very excited about that. So let's jump into it. Dr. Brill, what questions do you have for me for the Untold Truths of Pregnancy?
Well, first, I just want to say happy birthday. I hope that you enjoyed your birthday, and it's just great to see you another year on this earth. So I just want to acknowledge you for that.
Thank you very much. It was a great time.
Yes.
Excellent time.
You want to know what question I have for you?
Absolutely. Hit me with it.
Do it. Many women in their 40s still hope to conceive. I mean, you know it's a lot. What are your thoughts or feelings about the potential challenges and opportunities of trying to have children later on in life?
Well, interesting question. Thank you for asking. See, that is the challenge. People are still having children well into their 40s and early 50s. And I've seen stories even that women are in their 60s. Now, I'm not trying to be Sarah or have children that late in life. I obviously did not plan to have children this late. As a matter of fact, ever since I was 12, I really didn't want to be married or have children before age 30. So now at age 47, that looks a little bit different. However, my reasons for how I see and envision what my family makeup to be are very important to me. So one of the things that I always have to do beyond just keeping my faith, knowing what God has already shared with me about my path to motherhood, has been to dispel what other people may say or think or want to give me advice on, like, girl, that time is up, that's over, you should have did that earlier or whatever. Just in general, or people that don't really know me don't know that I have no children of my own, but I do have 17 nieces or nephews. So they always think that those children are my children because I actually help raise them in some capacity. But overall, I would say to women that are in their 40s or even 30s or whatever you feel, you know that God has given you whatever that path forward looks like. And even if for whatever reason you're not able to have children, that doesn't make you less of a person, let alone a woman, because you don't have them or you've made the choice that you're not going to. So just kind of keep the faith on that. Obviously, when I go to the gynecologist, they say, oh, well, you're healthy. And, when are we going to get started? Like, we don't have all day. We don't have all this time. So again, I always just have to stay positive and know what he said to me and just move forward with that. My idea of a family still works for me, still works for my God, and that's just what it is.
That's very interesting. I have a bonus question before you can do this short answer for this.
Yeah.
If you meet a man and you really feel that he could be the one, however, let's just take it a year from now, because you just already had your birthday, 48. What would you say to a man who doesn't want to have children but already has children? And of course, you have a lot of nieces and nephews, but he just doesn't want to have children. How would you respond to him?
Well, I've had to have those conversations pretty early on when I'm talking to gentlemen that think they want to recruit me, woo me, whatever. I always go in with that. Once we clear the whole, you're this old, you're that old, I always say I have a desire to be a mother. And are you looking to parent or father additional children? For me, them not wanting additional children is a deal breaker, because while I still have the same faith standpoint, there is no reason for me to try to force or convince myself or someone else of a position they don't want to take and that they don't share. So my response has always been, that's great. He's just not for me. I know what I'm looking for. I'm looking to be found by. And if it had included that journey for me, then I would have already did that. Now I have dated men who already had children. I probably dated those fewer in number than I have the opposite without children, but I've always led with that desire up front so that it is not something that I'm hoping that they will feel about later to help me do. But I just, being honest, being open, being vulnerable, just saying, this is what I still desire. I know what the driver's license and the birth certificate say, but my faith says this, and I'm just going to stand on it. Where do you stand on having additional children? Because I think you shared with us, Jabril, a few episodes, many episodes ago. I think we were talking about dating in the church. You can't expect someone to accept your position, like a man already having children, and I have to come in and be this bonus mom. And then you say, well, you're not going to give me the opportunity to be able to have my own child. Like, okay, you're done, but that's not my story. So if you don't already have that, then I need to be aware of that. So one of the last relationships that I had, we got all the way down to our pre-engagement counseling. I've talked about this before. And in that session, he shared that he never saw himself having additional children. Now we are 18 months in at this point, and I knew in my heart that our relationship was over that day, that moment. It didn't matter what great love I had for him or what great love he had for me, because that was the foundational lie that was going to rip us apart in later years. And I couldn't expect him to change positions when he clearly stated in that session that's what he felt. Although from the very outset, I was always sharing with him where I was on it. And here he had 5 children, 3 adult kids, one of which had special needs, and 2 adolescent kids, one at 16, one at 12. And I just thought that that was very disrespectful and very somewhat unforgiving. I forgave him, but I couldn't move forward with him because that was a foundational lot for me. So you do have to stand on principle. I didn't say it was easy to go into these relationships and then find out these guys don't want to have children with you. I'm saying that you have to already be sold on what your faith is and what you desire to do. And if that desire is at a level where it is tantamount, it is paramount, it is a non-negotiable aspect of what you want in life, don't try to sacrifice or negotiate on those things, because those things may be the very things that unravel the relationship you think you might have developed up until that point.
All right. Well, thank you. I have one more question for you. What does motherhood mean to you? And how do you feel when you hear stories from other women who have faced infertility or other pregnancy challenges?
Excellent question. Motherhood means to me as a unique chance to develop a one-on-one relationship to impact and impart legacy from not only a spiritual standpoint, but it's your way of passing on traditions and meanings and family roles and wisdom, different things that only a mother can do. Not to say a father can't, because a father has a different aspect. Of course, his seed is what extends that bloodline, but like that direct connection of having to birth a kid, and not everyone that's a mother has physically conceived a child. So I wouldn't say that motherhood is only defined by that, but that unique bond, there is no other bond on earth, even with animals, that you can achieve in that way without actually having done those things. Yes, you can love that child, I feel like, in the same way, but that the bond that's created with this entity literally growing inside of you from conception all the way to birth, and now you have the responsibility to keep of rearing that child, making sure they're a productive citizen, making sure they're a good person in life. And then God gives you that special other responsibility that you have, even in that regard, that there's no greater sacrifice, in my opinion, that you could ever make. Yes, I contribute and birth projects, and I birth businesses, and I've helped others birth their dreams in the business world and different things like that. And I've been a very instrumental part, I feel, in my nieces and nephews, cousins, and every relative's life that I've had the opportunity to make an impact on and an imprint on. And especially, I always remark about my nieces and nephews because the way I love them and co-parent them is as if I am in the shoes of being their mom, but I am not their mom at the end of the day. And there's still challenges with that. And you mentioned, you asked in your question, what do I feel about stories I hear from women who face infertility and pregnancy challenges. That's why I'm remarking in my response about motherhood is not just defined by children you physically birth in your own womb, that you can still be a mother in that case. What I've found with women that are my same age who experience infertility issues, it comes from a myriad of issues related to health and genetics. But one of the number one things that I've seen, at least probably in the last 17 years, from 30 to 47, has been that the one key link that most of those infertility stories have is the use of birth control. So when I would look and say, they would tell me I'm healthy enough to have kids anytime I feel like it. And I would be like, here's my counterpart, my friend, this person I've known for years and years and years. I've had women that I know that have had hysterectomies already, or partially, fully, whatever. They've had cysts, they've had all kinds of different issues that have made physical pregnancy an impossibility, that I'm like, I know how blessed I am, and I do not take that lightly, which is also one of the reasons why I stick to my faith about my path for motherhood is so crucial and critical, that despite how it looks 47 without a contender or a mate that I'm dating to be able to say, we're going to get married and have a kid, I know how challenging that can be for someone to accept in their mind or faith wise and hold on and hang in there for God's promises. But the other thing is, even with you having a pregnancy challenge, you have to dispel the things that our culture, being our race or ethnicity has experienced. Go to the doctor, find out, do the test, find out if it's him, find out if it's you, find out what are the challenges that you might even face beforehand. They now have the technology and the medical instruments to be able to tell you if there's going to be a problem with that kid, all kinds of things. Now, the funny thing is, when you're a woman over 40, they call it advanced age pregnancy. So they want you to take it very easy, to relax. Now, Jabril, you've known me for a while. So you see me laying up in anybody's bed 9 months, not going to happen. So now I know there'll be things that I might have to listen to, and the doctors might have to treat me a little differently. Like, okay, I'm gonna need you to beef up on supplements. But these are things that you can have these type of conversations with your gynecologist, with your doctors, looking at what kind of medications you are taking, what kind of diet you need to have, what kind of exercise regimen you need to have, things that our parents and our parents' parents and parents' never had before, to make those challenges something that you can overcome and advance to put yourself at the most optimum level of child rearing as you most possibly can, or identifying that you're going to have issues. And now, if you have the finances, you can determine if you're going to have in vitro, you can have a surrogate, so many things. So the possibilities are endless. Yes, every woman I talk to that would want to have a child really wants to rear them from their own wombs. But don't let that stop you, or the stigma of those things stop you from wanting to have that path forward. If you know that is your God-given calling, because a motherhood path is going to test everything that you are, everything that you thought you're ever going to be. This is not a role to be taken lightly. I have had plenty of time to consider it. So, just as I can decide to be on a path for motherhood, I can definitely decide to be like, you know what? I love my sleep. I love my clients. I love my schedule. I like to be able to do what I want to do, how I want to do it, where I want to do it in. I don't even have to choose to be married or anything. It just totally be by myself. I know that I can make the choice to also be a mother too. So don't let it daunt you. Just, decide and go after it. Don't let anything hold you back. And don't let anyone hold you back either.
Thank you. That pretty much says it all. Do you have any questions for me?
Absolutely. Why not? Um, Well, Jabril, we know that you are a wonderful father, and you actually have a much older child in terms of she's not a baby anymore. Thank God for that, right? But some of the questions, well, I have a few questions, but one question I would like to ask is for someone like yourself who's actually been through the experience of becoming a father, how do you think the pressures and the joys of fatherhood actually differ? Well, parenthood in general differ between men and women. Like, what do you think about that?
The difference you're saying?
Yeah, what do you think the difference of the pressures as it relates to the pressures and joys of parenthood in general between a man becoming a father and a woman becoming a mother? Like, what do you think that looks like?
Feel that the bar for a man to be a father is much lower than the expectations of a woman. And I'll just give a few examples. If you, a woman is expected to participate in the grooming, the papers, the homework, the care, any type of extracurricular activities, any parties, where the man can show up late, not even have a gift. As long as he shows up in and out for a few minutes, he's a great dad. If he picks up that child 2 or 3 times out of the year, he's a great dad. If he is not seen the whole year but takes a selfie and maybe a couple other pictures and posts them on social media, he's a great dad. But if a mother were to dare be absent for just a week, I mean, you would might be taking a child protective services or whatever, reported, your family shaming you. It's just such an unfair double standard. Parenting and go to parenting, that's exactly what it is. It took two people to have that child or those children. So it's sad and very unfortunate that the man is put on this pedestal to be the person who leads, but yet this person leading the child or this daughter or this son that one day will see that as an example. Hence, that is why we have this cycle for decades and centuries of the father that has never been his best, that he can apologize for 30 years of being absent and the daughter or son accept him, but that mother might have disappeared and wanted to do something for herself for maybe 1 month, take a class or whatever, and she's the worst mom. It's totally disturbing to me. But again, your parents, it's a double standard, and I just wanted to speak out, even though I am a father, of course. But truly, her mother has been there way more than I am, and that's just it's many nights that I've slept, and I know that maybe her mother was up with her, and I didn't even know about it. So but just showing up, seems like that's all you got to do is show up. So the bar and the standard they're just, it's not even close.
Wow. I love that. I think that you spoke to a lot of things that people don't consider. And I think the challenge for the mother is to not destroy the fabric of how the child sees the father, whether he's absent or present, to not affect that. You see situations in which the mother has kind of tried to poison the kid, but those kids grow up, so you can't pull that, for too long. I mean, I couldn't imagine how tough that may have been, even though I've seen that personally. But, the emotions and the different things that, not being able to take time for yourself. And like you said, he shows up like the hero. It doesn't even matter how absent he's been, but you're right. Society does hold mothers at a higher standard. And I think it is also because they are the ones who carried them in the womb with the expectation of the connection and the bond. Like, how could you do that to your kid who you actually carried for 9 months? That type of thing, right? So it is a horrible double standard, but thank you for shedding some light on that. I have another question. So, in raising a daughter, how has that impacted your understanding of the role that women play both in family and society as a whole And I would say also as a follow-up question to that, how do you see your daughter's future in terms of her choices, if you know them or not, about whether or not she wants to be a mother, if you want to share that part?
All right, say the first part of it again. So
How has raising a daughter impacted your understanding of the role that women play in the family and society as a whole?
I guess I could say that seeing my daughter grow up in so many different ways, from a baby to a little kid, cute little daughter, to a mini woman. I see that she has ways where I see the emotions, but I see a forgiving spirit. I see a want to want to know that everything is okay, even if she doesn't believe it. And I see that in adult women. So I see all of the phases. I see the ghosting, sometimes ghosting, but coming back maybe 2 days later because she needs help. So I've seen that. And I've seen also some humility and maturity and apologizing. So we've gone through different phases where it seemed like a relationship, but she's just my daughter. I'm sure I'll hear from her shortly if she's not mad at me. In terms of her choices, the second part you asked was about her choices of.
Concerning like what she thinks about pregnancy or motherhood, like has she shared anything like her personal views about that? Like, does she want to be a mother?
She had.
Uh,
I don't know how it is now, but I know a few minutes ago she had said that she wanted to have children. So I mean, she's never had a boyfriend. So let's see. She's 20, but I mean, things can happen quickly when it's lined up properly. I'll just always say that, but I haven't heard her not say that she doesn't want children. I mean, she has two younger brother and a younger sister, and that definitely keeps her responsible. So she has no time to be the baby anymore.
Absolutely. Do you feel like in raising a girl that it softened your approach or made you feel like you understand women more overall?
I understood them before, but I feel that when you have your own daughter or your children, and they happen to be a daughter, that you become a little bit more sensitive, or the women around you will mentor and help you to become more sensitive, especially if your own daughter, because you may not realize your tone is a little different, or that she is your daughter, young, and she may not be able to handle the same responses as an adult woman can, even though she may challenge me as if she were a young adult woman. And she does try that at any given time as she gets older.
Got it. So you heard me mention how old I've become and that I still have this desire for children. What do you think from a male perspective, how they should position themselves to support a partner who still wants to go through this kind of journey personally, although they may or may not have children, and it could be fine either way, whether they have or not. Like, okay, babe, that's what you want to do. Like, how do you think they should position themselves as a partner to come alongside a journey of a woman who still is like, yep, Jesus said I can have them, so I'm going to.
Say that again.
So for example, like you asked earlier, what is it, how I would feel about a guy that said he didn't want children, or because he already has them, how I would respond to that. I'm saying, what do you feel from the male's perspective, that how he could position himself if he finds himself in a relationship with someone like me? Like, he's fine, he wants to please me, but like what would you recommend him to do in terms of being able to come alongside me, or a woman like myself that says, yeah, I know what the clock says. My biological clock is not ticking. This is not how I see it. But how can he be more supportive or more understanding to kind of position him to like carry it out? Because ultimately it's going to be our decision, whether it's a, yeah, you know what, 50, I'm not even trying.
So is
Or
that your time? 50 is yours?
I would want to have them by 50. Yeah.
So
I
you better,
just,
you
I
better
don't
pick it. No, no, but so you're asking how, if you're with someone right now, because now all of this has to be now. I mean, it's And you want to know how would he support you, or what should he say, or how would I
Yeah,
recommend?
how can he be supportive?
And he wants to have a child with you.
He's like, yeah, like if you want it, let's go. If you don't want it, if you change your mind, I'm cool with that too. Like, babe, what you want to do, I'm here for it.
Well, you've answered the question yourself. That's what you want. You want somebody to say it just like that. But I mean, I think that for you, you definitely gotta. He has to just probably want it. It can't really come from you. I don't think that you already know it's tough enough for men, and men like to feel like it's their idea, or most people do. And so, a man who brings it up first, that's a good sign. If you're the one saying it it's kind of you're pulling somebody in, and trust me, it's one thing to pull somebody into moving into a neighborhood, but it's another thing to pull a man into having a child that his name is on it for life. And if things don't go according to love, he has a forever sentence, and that may not be what he wants at this
Right.
stage of his life. So if a man sees you and sees beyond just the physical essence and beauty, he has to be able to say, do I really want to spend the rest of my life, not just with you, but with the children?
Yes.
Huge. And you would be able to know this without giving any clues. I would say, don't help a brother out. Don't nudge him. See how he is within the next 90 days. I'm not talking about that other 90-day rule. This is a 90-day connection rule. And you would see and hear so much without he saying anything. That's my advice to not just you, but a lot of our women, all of our women, pardon me.
I love it. So here's a more pointed personal question, if you don't mind answering. So um, you have your daughter. Now, when you married to Keisha, you guys didn't have children together, but in the discussion, probably at one time you were thinking that you might want to. How did you feel as a man coming into it, knowing that your daughter was at the age she was? And, were you like thinking that you wanted to go in and have more children, or were you just kind of open to the idea itself?
I don't think we talked about it that much, but I wasn't really wanting to have another child after the one of 20 and some of the challenges that I'd had. So we didn't really talk about it that much. So
Would you, did you, because you did express that you wanted to be married again. So in your thought process of wanting to be married again, were you also open at that time, knowing that you would be married, that did children kind of register on your mind like, yeah, I want to be a father again, possibly?
a little, but we didn't get to talk about it but so much. And next thing you know, oops. Next thing you know, the angels just came up like that, and the time was almost here, and here we are at 50. So it just moved so fast. So I think that in your case and others, you may have to get rid of some other things if this is a priority, because the other things will come. But being in alignment with the right person, and you have a few challenges because only you have to find the right person. Now you have to find the right person who wants to spend the rest of his life with you and have a child and give you that desire. The other trick is he has to already have that impregnated in him, in his heart, that whether he has children or not, or never had a child, to be committed to you and his family forever. And that's where a lot of prayer has to come, a lot of faith has to come, because there are women, not just you, but other women who want that, who've achieved almost everything in life, can buy anything they want, whenever they want, however they want, but they still want the family. And of course, family doesn't mean without being married, want the total package and deserve that. So I would end by just sharing that and just wishing you this year for your birthday year, and that you are just get all the desires of your heart. And I feel that you will. Just gotta have a little bit more patience and keep your eyes open and your ears close.
Very wise. I receive it. Thank you very, very much.
Mm-hmm.
So there you have it. The I Dream of Mummy, the untold truths of pregnancy. I appreciate the discussion. Please remember to like, share, comment, and let us hear back from you. Give us a statement. So this is our conclusion.